retro gamers, Antarpa here from Hidden Chest Gaming. What can I say? Lots of pickups. Don't know where to start. Start with what I'm leaning on. Vectrex. Finally got my Vectrex working properly. It's been off to the wonderful Retro Repair Bear. Details down below. And she's fixed it finally, properly. I've had this for years, absolute years, and it's never quite worked properly. So whilst it's not a pickup as such, it's a bit of a sort of big thing for me, because now finally I have got a totally working Vectrex that doesn't decide to turn itself off halfway through a game, or make the screen smaller, or do all the weird and wonderful things that it used to do. It just works now. I also treated myself to this Vec Multi, which is an amazing cart by Richard Hutchinson. You literally just get in touch with him via email, and he sorts it out for you. It's just full of all the original sort of Vectrex titles, plus a load of really good homebrew stuff. Well worth it. Plus it glows, which is a bonus. I'll put a little bit of footage up here while I'm talking, just so you can see it working. I did used to have the 72 in 1. Well, still have got it, but I don't use it anymore. 72 in 1 multi-cart, which was good enough, but the Vec Multi is so much better. I'd love a Vec Fever, obviously, but the Vec Fever's like rocking horse poo to get hold of. It's almost impossible. Everybody's after a Vec Fever, and they're really thin on the ground, very hard to get hold of. So I'll put up with the Vec Multi for now. I've also got my Pytrex, which I still haven't got round to configuring. I've not quite figured it out yet. I may need some help with that, guys. If anybody knows how to configure a Pytrex properly, can you get in touch with me so I can just get it done out of the way? I'd love to get my Pytrex up and running and play some of those arcade Vector titles on my Vectrex. That would be amazing. I would love that. But yeah, now my Vectrex works. I'm unbelievably over the moon with that. I have not stopped playing with this since it's come back. I love Vectrex. It's such a unique, quirky console. There's never been anything like it since or before. I was always a big fan of the Vector games in the arcades. So this console really ticked the boxes for me. I never had one when I was a kid. My parents could never afford one of these. They were quite expensive at the time. But there was one down our local youth club which we all used to play on, so it still holds a lot of nostalgia for me. Absolutely love the thing. Seriously, it's probably one of my favourite consoles of all time. It's so quirky. It's just a pleasure to play on. Really beautiful thing. And I wouldn't be without it, to be honest, so I'm well chuffed that that's been fixed now. I'll move on to cassettes as usual. ZX81, but this is a little bit different. Now this is how long it's been since I've done a video. These were signed by Malcolm Evans back at the Crash event. And I still haven't shown anybody. So yeah, these are 3D Monster Mazes that have been signed by the man himself, the main man, Malcolm Evans. Now I've got a shout out to Jamie Murray for this. I was running a stall at Crash, so I couldn't get away from it. I was busy all day. I did really well at Crash with my retro gear stall, which is now part of Hidden Chest, incidentally. So come along and see us. I'll put down the details down below for Hidden Chest. Yeah, so I was very busy all day, so I couldn't get away. Jamie Murray came to the rescue. He took my inlays. He sat patiently, waited, and got them signed by Malcolm Evans himself. So I've got the one that mainly everybody knows, the sort of beigey JK Grey one. I got that signed. I got the later 3D Monster Maze New Generation colour one, signed. I also got New Generation 3D Defender, signed while I was there by Malcolm Evans. He signed that on the back, because obviously it wouldn't show up very well on the front there. But the pièce de résistance, excuse my really bad French, is this one, which is my very original J.K. Gray 3D Monster Maze with the photocopied inlay with the instructions printed on it, and this is how they came originally. So that's an original one, which probably sold at somewhere like a ZX Micro Fair or something like that before they became really famous and started doing the mail order. So yeah, that's a very original 3D Monster Maze photocopied version, which was the first one. The tape has just got like a label on it, basically. A little printed label on the side there. And the instructions are just wedged in there. It's not really a proper overlay as such, inlay as such. It's like a, I'm thinking of Vectrex, an inlay. So it's not like a proper inlay as you'd know it. It's just like a piece of folded up photocopied paper. But yeah, that was how they came originally. So I've had that one signed by the man himself as well. So proper chuffed about that. I mean, they're just like, for me, they're the sort of ultimate. That especially is like the ultimate bit of software for the ZX81. It's one of the most famous games, signed by one of the most famous authors, software authors, and it's the very first iteration of it. So that is like gold to me. Lovely, lovely, lovely. So big thanks again to Jamie for getting those signed for me, because they would not have been signed otherwise. Trashman was keeping on the theme of Malcolm Evans, but this one's a little bit different. I didn't even know this one existed, and this is the Trashman for the C64. Now I collect Quicksilver titles, which this is, and there you go, Trashman for the C64. Didn't know it existed. I have now got it in my Quicksilver collection, which is quite extensive now, to be honest. I've got quite a few tapes banging about in the loft, in the games loft. This one's a bit unusual. It is a reproduction of a microsource, a Cura microsource. Now this little add-on was for your specky, and basically it just it's like it's a assembler and a fourth. It's got fourth built into it. I mean, I'm not a massive techie, to be honest. I just play stuff, and I know a little bit. But this basically, Cura were going to release it, but went bump just before it did get released. Now Mark Smith, being the clever chap he is, has reproduced the PCB, and he also stumbled across a shed load, literally a shed load of the original chips. So it's actually got a proper Cura microsource chip on there, and they were found in somebody's shed, literally. So hats off to Mark for producing that. Brilliant little thing. I've had a little play around in fourth on my specky with that, and yeah, I still can't program in fourth. I tried it on my ZX81 back in the day, and I still don't get it. But there you go. I was a basic man myself. I did honestly try to learn fourth, and failed miserably. But I have played about with that a little bit on my specky, and it's great fun, good fun. Couple of things for the 2600. So I mean, all the usual suspects: ZX81, 2600, blah blah blah. Same stuff as I always get. Private Eye, got this one from Vintage Gamer in Colligate, not far away from us. Nick, he's a great chap, runs Vintage Gamer. If you're ever in the area, if you're ever in the West Midlands, make sure you pop along to Vintage Gamer. And Hidden Chest, little plug. Yeah, Private Eye, one of the more rare titles. I had already got the cartridge for this anyway, so I've now got a spare cart, but it is one of the rarer titles, and to find it boxed, he did me a really good deal on it. In fact, it was pretty cheap, to be honest. So thanks to Nick for that. Lovely, really nice, well, reasonable condition box. I wouldn't say it was really nice box. It's a decent box. It's not bad. It's not too banged up. It's got all the flaps, etc. It's got the instructions in, and it's still got its sort of inner cardboard intact. So not bad at all, really. The carts looks unmarked, so I don't think it's been played much. But there you go. A very strange game, actually, so I'm not surprised it hasn't been played much. I mean, it's not a bad game, but it's a bit unusual. And it takes a bit of getting used to, and it can be very frustrating. Along the levels of E.T. frustrating, that frustrating, yeah. I did actually do a piece on my site about, or there is a piece on my site. I don't think I wrote it actually. There is a piece on my site about Private Eye. If you want to have a look on retrogamescollector.com and see what that game is, under the Weird and Retro title, I think. So yeah, that's Private Eye. I've got to find somewhere to put all this stuff in now. Mindmaster. Now this one's another game for my supercharger, for the Arcadia supercharger, or Starpath supercharger, and it's called Escape from Mindmaster. It's a maze game. If you don't know what these are, they are actually cassettes for your 2600. The Starpath supercharger is like a cartridge with audio input, so you play your cassette into it as if you were loading it into a computer, like a ZX Spectrum or ZX81 or a Commodore 64. And the actual cartridge itself holds more memory and increased graphics capabilities, so the games are far more advanced than just the normal plug-in cartridge games, and they can be multi-parts as well because they're on cassette, so you have multi-part games. So it's a nice thing to have, the supercharger, to be honest, if you can get hold of one. I'm after all the games. I have currently got 4 there are lots, so I've got a long way to go, but they are quite expensive. I did get this one for a decent price off eBay. It was about £35, I think, if I remember rightly, which isn't bad for a boxed Starpath game in good condition. So I was quite pleased with that, to be honest. There you go. Escape from the Mindmaster. Some more ZX81 stuff. Shock horror. These ones are from Stephen McDonald, and what Stephen McDonald did back in the mid 80s was produce a couple of IRES games for the ZX81, which are quite legendary, to be honest. Oh, ouch! Don't bang your elbow around. One is called Rock Crush, and the other one is called Dan's Revenge. Now he's reproduced these, so these are modern reproductions of his old tapes. I had already got the original Rock Crush, which is that one. So I've got the original to that, and that was produced in 1985, as you can see. This one is Rock Crush, produced last year or the year before, and that one comes with a nice new shiny inlay. It comes with a little certificate of authenticity signed by Stephen himself as well. I've also now got Hi-Res number 2, which was produced in 1986 by Stephen, and that's called Dan's Revenge. So I've got those two. Also, I think I've already shown you this one. This is the reproduced version of Rock Crush with a new colour inlay that he produced a couple of years ago. I've now added to that, and now I've got Rock Crush 2 The Power of Dan, which is an absolutely brand new game that is produced as a sequel to Rock Crush. So there you go. And this one again comes with a nice colour inlay and a little certificate of authenticity. Very nice things to have. Stephen's a nice chap. He's very personable, and they're not expensive. You can find all of these, by the way. I'll find his website. I do know it, and I've just gone out of my head for a second. Yeah, rock-crush.com. I will put the details down below again, if you want to buy any of these tapes for your ZX81. They are well worth it. They are good. They're good games, and it's always nice to have sort of new stuff for you. Well, actually, these aren't new stuff. They're just reproductions of new stuff, of old stuff. Sorry. So the new reproductions of old stuff. That one's the only new one out of them, Rock Crush 2. So yeah, so that's nice, that is, actually, because now I've got the absolute original Rock Crush. I've got a reproduced Rock Crush, and the colour version of Rock Crush. So I've got all three, and Dan's Revenge, and Rock Crush 2 The Power of Dan. So again, a nice little collection from Stephen there. So thanks for that, Stephen. Some more 2600 stuff. Mr. Do, nice condition cartridge. Mine are 24.99, and I believe it or not, I didn't have mine are 24.99. I mean, why have I not got that? It's, you know, it's one of the better games for the 2600, but I hadn't got it, so now I have. I'd like it boxed eventually, I think that, but it is quite expensive to buy boxed, so I'll stick with the cart for now. Till I drop lucky. Rock and Rope, and again, really nice condition cartridge. These I say that because these normally peel. As anybody who collects 2600 games know, these normally peel off. This one has never peeled. It is in nice, really nice condition. Lovely. And now I'm down to a manageable pile of stuff now. Something a bit different. A brand new ColecoVision PSU. I got this from Keylock, Polish chap who makes reproduces. He's made modern PSUs for a lot of old computers and consoles. So yeah, this one, this style is for Sinclair QL, TI-99/4A, ColecoVision. Obviously this one is only for the ColecoVision because it's got a proprietary plug on it, which is a bit unusual with 4 pins. But yeah, it's a nice thing. I've tried it out. It works perfectly. That lights up when it's switched on. It's got a switch on the back, and it just feels quality. It's very, very nicely made. Not massively expensive. This was about £44, something like that. £45 posted to me. So, you know, it wasn't massively expensive. And there were no charges either when it came. So it was literally just the £45. So I was really pleased with that. So that came from Poland. The reason I got this, by the way, it's a common fault on the ColecoVision that the PSUs start playing up, and mine was chucking out less voltage than was needed, and apparently that can cause damage to the RAM inside the ColecoVision. So I thought to err on the side of caution and buy a new PSU if I could, and lo and behold, this chap makes them. So if you've got any doubts about your ColecoVision PSU, get one of these. They're great. I have tested the ports and it is a really steady, correct voltage. It's lovely. Yeah, really good. Very, very pleased with that. And that's just a little bit of peace of mind that my ColecoVision isn't going to die on me now. Especially after I'd had it AV modded, which I showed you in the last video, last pickups video. Coming up to my last few things now. ZX80 box. This is a bit of an unusual one because there wasn't a ZX80 box built, was there? We know that. Made, sorry, not built. You don't build boxes. There wasn't a ZX80 box made, so this is a reproduction of what they think that the ZX80 box would have looked like, and I think they've done a damn good job, to be honest. They've taken the graphics and the colour scheme from the manual and married it with sort of the layout of the ZX81 box, so you ended up with something that is could quite possibly have been what would have been produced for the ZX80 if it had ever had been made into a box. It comes with polys. Now the polys aren't great, they're sort of very squared off and they're not of the same polystyrene as the original, so I've swapped them out and put old style ZX81 polys in here which do fit the ZX80 quite nicely and the old ZX80 PSU as well. So yeah, that was a nice thing, and that's from Console Boxes. Again, details down below. Check them out. They do repro boxes for everything from sort of Vectrexes to ColecoVisions. They do the lot. So yeah, check them out. They haven't done the Auric yet though. Just a little hint. I've asked several times for the Auric sleeve and still haven't done an Auric sleeve. I want an Auric sleeve. Mine's all battered. I've got one of these again. I say again because I sold mine years ago, a lovely boxed one that I sold, and I really regretted it. One of those regrets, you know, one of those retro regrets. Where you sell something and you immediately think, damn, I shouldn't have sold that, and now I've got to pay twice as much to get one back. So yeah, I finally got one of them for a good price off a mate on Facebook. So there you go. And that now sits here, if you can see, on my tower of power, my Mega CD, Mega Drive, and now Master System converter on top. And last but not least, literally only just picked these up, 5200 carts. So these are for the Atari 5200. I have already got most of these. I bought them in a job lot off a friend for a decent price. So I have probably already shown you these at some stage. A lot of them. I think there were 4 out of this lot that I hadn't got. So I'll show you them all again anyway. It's Choplifter, not shoplifter. Choplifter. Not about nicking stuff. Super Breakout, Space Dungeon, Countermeasure. That was nice. I had already got Countermeasure, I think. Oh, had I? No, I hadn't got Countermeasure, but Countermeasure actually comes with a little overlay for the controller, which is nice. They are always missing. Putting them up there, aren't I? Pole Position. None of the others come with overlays, just that one. Pac-Man. Oh, okay. I didn't think any of the others came with overlays. Hello. Another overlay on Pac-Man. Cool. That's nice. Lovely. That was a nice little surprise. I didn't realise there were any more overlays. Pac-Man's got an overlay as well. Oh, cool. So that'll replace my my other Pac-Man. Space Invaders, which I don't think I had, believe it or not. Gorus. That one's quite nice. So these labels always peel off, as this Frogger shows. And as this Super Cobra shows. Yeah, these Parker Brothers labels on the 5200 carts, they never ever stayed on. They just peeled off. But the pièce de résistance amongst the 5200 carts is Hero. which I haven't actually played yet, but I am assured is a very, very good port of Hero. So there you go, guys. Thank you very much for watching. I hope I haven't bored you too much with my pickups. Like, subscribe, hit the notifications button if you want to see more from me, and until next time, keep it retro.